In July 1837, Charles Darwin had a flash of inspiration. In his study at his house in London, he turned to a new page in the red-leather notebook and wrote, "I think." Then he drew a spindly sketch of a tree. The tree of life concept was absolutely central to Darwin's thinking. Equal importance to natural selection, according to biologist W. Ford Doolittle of Dalhousie University in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Without it, the theory of evolution would never have happened. The tree also helped carry the day for evolution. Darwin argued successfully that the tree of life was a fact of nature, plain for all to see. Though in need of an explanation, the explanation he came up with was evolution by natural selection. For much of the past 150 years, biology was largely concerned itself with fulfilling in the details of the tree. For a long time, the Holy Grail was to build a tree of life, says Eric Baptiste, an evolutionary biologist at the Pierre and Marie Curie University in Paris, France. A few years ago, it looked as though the Grail was within reach. But today, the project lies in tatters, torn to pieces by an onslaught of negative evidence. Many biologists now argue that the tree concept is obsolete and needs to be discarded. We have no evidence at all that the tree of life is a reality, says Baptiste. That bombshell has even persuaded some that our fundamental view of biology needs to change. The problems begin in the early 1990s, when it became possible to sequence actual bacterial and archaeal genes rather than just RNA. Everybody expected these DNA sequences to confirm the RNA tree, and sometimes they did, but crucially, sometimes they did not. RNA, for example, might suggest that species A was more closely related to species B than species C, but a tree made from DNA would suggest the reverse. The more we learn about microbes, the clearer it becomes that the history of life cannot be adequately represented by a tree. More fundamentally, recent research suggests that the evolution of animals and plants isn't exactly tree-like either. There are problems even in that little corner, says Dupré. Having uprooted the tree of unicellular life, biologists are now taking their axes to the remaining branches. Others, however, don't think it is time to relax. Instead, they see the uprooting of the tree of life as the start of something bigger. It's part of a revolutionary change in biology, says Dupré. Our standard model of evolution is under enormous pressure. We're clearly going to see evolution as much more about mergers, collaboration, than change within isolated lineages. Ross goes even further. The tree of life is being lightly buried. We all know that, he says. What's less accepted is that our whole fundamental view of biology needs to change. Biology is vastly more complex than we thought, he says, and facing up to this complexity will be as scary as the conceptual upheavals physicists had to take on board in the earliest 20th century.